I can't stress this enough. The last 24 hours have been insane when it comes to Call of Duty, and I think way more impactful than probably any of you actually realize for so many different reasons. And as you can tell by the title of this video, this all ties into one thing, and that is Modern Warfare 4, and I'll get to that. First, let me just explain to you what happened. As of yesterday, it was announced that Season 3 of Black Ops 6 and Warzone have been delayed. Now, why is that such a big deal? Well, Season 3 marks the return of Verdansk to Call of Duty Warzone. Now, as it turns out, we found out a lot more about this than you may expect. We found out that the reason why this is being delayed is because they need, and by they, I mean Activision, I mean Xbox, I mean Raven, need this update to be perfect. They need it to return players to the game, and they need it to retain players. Because as it turns out, if it doesn't, Warzone might be canceled altogether. But not only that, the changes that are coming to Call of Duty within the next 2 years are absolutely wild. And you may be wondering why this is such a big deal, and for that we have to go back in time a little bit. You see, it was March of 2020. The world was essentially in a pandemic, and at that time, Activision was cooking, specifically cooking up a little something called Call of Duty Warzone, which was kind of their answer to Fortnite. It was going to be their battle royale, and because everyone was locked in their house, it was a perfect time to release this game. It brought people together, and the game was, like, some would say perfect, but let's be honest, there was bugs with it, there was problems. And immediately, Warzone was tied together with Modern Warfare 2019. The levels of your guns in game in Modern Warfare were the levels of your guns in Warzone. Immediately, the multiplayer was completely tied together with Warzone in more than just one way. Your player level, your weapon levels, and every single year after that, that is exactly how Warzone would work. And because of that, the landscape of Warzone and Call of Duty has been shaped thus-wise since then. Well, as it turns out, if Verdansk does not return players to the game and keep them there, Verdansk isn't just going to be the next map in Warzone, it may very well be the last map. And this brings us in to Modern Warfare 4. The game that is coming out in 2 years in 2026 is set to be Modern Warfare 4, and the Ghost of Hope once again gave us a bunch of leaks. If you didn't see my video a few days ago, we basically got a bunch of leaks on what the story of Modern Warfare 4, what the campaign was going to look like, and we'll tie that in together later. But as of yesterday, we found out a little bit more, and this is what the Ghost of Hope said. By the way, this is a pretty reputable leak, as he has been very correct about many things in the past, so we can take this with almost a sure thing, but you know, it's early, things may change. But here's what he said. Exclusive details for Modern Warfare 4 in 2026. First of all, no old gen support. This goes in with a later one that this is being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox. So old gen support means PlayStation 4 and that era of consoles. It will no longer be supported under this Call of Duty game. This goes with leaks that we recently heard that Black Ops 7, in other words, Call of Duty 2025, somehow will still be on those old generation consoles, and the first COD to not be on them is going to be Modern Warfare 4. Also, there's been this rumor going around for a while that by the end of 2026, in other words, when Modern Warfare 4 will be launching, that is when the next Xbox will be released, and Modern Warfare 4 will be a day one release for said Xbox. But this also leaves a bunch of questions up in the air because of the way that basically things are working for Xbox right now. They're getting away from hardware. They're moving more so to live service model of video games like Netflix with Xbox Game Pass, and they are releasing all of their games on all consoles. This brings us to our next point from Ghost of Hope, where it says traditional UI like the older games, more traditional than Black Ops 6. So what does this mean? Okay, when I first read this, I thought he was talking about the HUD. I thought he was talking about what we had in game, which was super weird because Black Ops 6 introduced a new thing where you could rearrange and change what your HUD actually looked like in game. But going back, this is not what he's talking about. He's talking about the game menus. So this is actually what he was talking about, and that is the user interface of Call of Duty as a whole. When you go into the game, immediately they're trying to sell you things. On top of this, we have the main menu, which looks more like Netflix than it does a Call of Duty game. This was way more amplified in Modern Warfare 2. Its menus were quite literally catastrophic is the only way I can say it. But like, you go in game here and it's not about like playing the game or getting in here right away. You go to home and they're showing you a bunch of different things, one of which is a bundle. You can go to all of your games, which makes it more confusing. This is the whole Call of Duty HQ thing. The next thing is store, and the next thing is the battle pass. So again, just trying to sell you things right away. Now, it's even more amplified, I think, when we get into a game, and let's, for example, go to multiplayer. When we get into the menus here, you can see it seems simple. It's just find a match, go to your playlist, but then you have all of this stuff over the top of the screen that makes getting into a game or doing anything so much more confusing, like your various different menus inside of your barracks for your various different types of challenges. Just as a whole, it is very confusing. Let's compare this to some older games. So just as a comparison, I wanted to show you some menus that people considered more simplistic. An example here is Black Ops 2. You can see pretty much everything is focused on that left-hand side of the screen. The example specifically that Ghost of Hope gave was from Modern Warfare Remastered. Again, everything focused on that left side, no clutter across the screen, and no menus to scroll across at the top. Where I think things started to get a little bit more complex was with Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, this is when more things were introduced, when battle passes were introduced, more specialists, more things in create a class. But a game I think they did this very well was actually Black Ops 3. They still had all of that kind of stuff, supply drops, and still when you were in game, everything was still focused on that left-hand side. But as a whole, this is what he was saying, getting back to that older user interface. And the other thing is the engine is being overhauled to address the problems that Modern Warfare 2's visual clutter caused. So needless to say, Modern Warfare 2 caused a lot of problems, whether we're talking about that Netflix menu that we were talking about before, or a bunch of other things like visual clutter. It caused a lot of problems, and that's because they updated the engine. I think the engine was almost as perfect as it got back in Modern Warfare 2019, whether you agree with all of the gameplay decisions or not. The game looked great, it felt great, but in Modern Warfare 2, they tried to complicate it by essentially throwing a bunch of dust, smoke, gun shake, a bunch of different things throughout the gameplay. This was all done in engine. It still has been tried to be fixed since then, but on an engine-based level has not. So this is what he was referring to here. But there was one more thing at the end of that statement, and that is that there will be no Warzone 3 if Verdansk does not retain the returning player base. Now, I think that statement is a little more true than you may believe, and that is because with Modern Warfare 2019, Infinity Ward's first return to the Modern Warfare universe, we got Warzone 1. With their second Modern Warfare game, Modern Warfare 2, we got Warzone 2. Now, with Modern Warfare 3, we did not get Warzone 3, but that's because that wasn't really Infinity Ward game. That was Sledgehammer's game. So the next game for Infinity Ward would be Modern Warfare 4, where we would expect to see Warzone 3. But if Verdansk fails, it's just simply not happening. So when I say that Modern Warfare 4 is going back to basics, it's first of all goes into what Ghost of Hope said. First of all, simplifying, that is not a word. Simplifying the user interface, reducing the visual clutter, going back to what Call of Duty used to be. But not only that, it may also be getting rid of that integration between Warzone and the game itself. There's already been rumors of getting rid of that to begin with, even if Warzone does well. And this once again ties into those other leaks that we've received. One of which is that Avalon, the map that we were supposed to be getting this coming up fall for Warzone, may not be coming out whatsoever. And that might be because we're getting rid of support for Warzone altogether if Verdansk doesn't do well. It also might be because coming into Modern Warfare 4, maybe Warzone and Call of Duty, well, there'll still be Warzone and Call of Duty, but they will be separate. It won't be tied in with the mainstream Call of Duty release for that year. It'll be its own thing. There's also the other rumor of DMZ. Apparently with Modern Warfare 4, DMZ 2, if you want to call it that, will be once again a thing, because remember, it was just a beta back in the day. So all of these rumors are starting to make a lot more sense. And as I discussed about a week ago, we talked about the campaign leaks that came out for Modern Warfare 4. That the fact that they are kind of going back to that old school technique that they did for the Modern Warfare campaigns, where they had the SAS team, or the 141 team in this case, and then the American team, which is going to be the Demon Dogs with Griggs, and then they had the two separate storylines that all tied together at the very end for the joint operation, which they did in Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, all the way through. And hopefully they're actually going to write a good story with Makarov. And it's abundantly clear that I think a lot of people are getting relatively sick with having two games of the same title back to back. So for example, two Modern Warfare games and then two Black Ops games. So I think people are already ready to see a Modern Warfare game, but that's not the case. We're getting another Black Ops game next year, and this next year is going to change the future of Call of Duty. But one thing is for sure, based off of all of these leaks, it truly sounds as though Modern Warfare 4 is truly going back to basics.
We are reaching for the stars.